Okay guys, so today we will discuss something which appears a little curious. We have all been told so many times that you should choose your friends and associates carefully. But today we are going to discuss how you can choose friends and associates scientifically. Not just carefully, but scientifically. Is it possible to choose your friends and associates scientifically? Well, it is. We all know that people have been broadly classified into introverts and extroverts. Introverts are those silent, reserved, withdrawn types. And extroverts are those outgoing, open, free-speaking types. Now, we have also heard this dictum that opposite poles attract. Quite true with magnets, quite true with people also. People of different characteristics are generally drawn to each other. Introverts are drawn to extroverts, and extroverts are drawn to introverts. They not only attract each other, they also stick to each other. A combination of two extroverts is unlikely to continue their friendship or association for a long time because there is every likelihood of a clash and a breakup. The combination of two introverts may continue for a long time but may continue pointlessly because in that relationship there is no life. There is no activity. There is not much interaction. There is no mutual benefit. So let's check out the slides. While you check out the slides, I'll continue with the deliberations. Well, on screen you see a rather complex slide classifying people into 16 personality types. I would like to give you a simpler version while you just keep an eye on this slide. Just listen to a simpler version of 16 personality types. The introverted personality types are primarily classified into 8, and extroverted types are again classified into 8. In introverted, one of the dominant personality types is called inspector. Make sure that you don't make friends with people of this category because they are basically intimidating or offensive in nature. In fact, the term inspector has been borrowed from the police, but today's police is not intimidating. They are more friendly. Police has become friendly, but then traditionally they have been intimidating. That's why the term inspector for this intimidating personality type. The second category is called counselor. This is an idealist category, or people who believe in principles, people who lead a life chasing ideals and ideologies. Okay. The third category is called mastermind. This is a quite planning type. There are many a time long-term planners. Sometimes they could be cunning in their planning activity. The craftsman is a simple, rational, logical person who leads the life logically. The idealist is a deep thinker. The idealist personality type is a deep thinking personality type. They think a lot about life. They philosophize, and many a time they would become philosophers. Whether or not they choose philosophy as a profession, they would naturally be philosophers in life. The next category is called the thinker. The thinker personality types is intuitive in nature. Intuitive means they dig into things deep. They will not operate superficially. They operate deeply. And then there is a personality type called nurturer. They are philanthropists or humanitarian in nature. These are the category of people who are at the front line of humanitarian services, voluntary services. See, you can call many of these fishermen who did a hell of a job rescuing people in the Kerala floods. Many of them, though their profession is fishing, could be nurturers in their psychological makeup, or they're philanthropists basically. And the next category is called visionary. These are people who are far-sighted. They generally live in the future. You know, the likes of Stephen Hawking, who lives in future, they're far-sighted. No, I'm not saying only people who are of the profile of Stephen Hawking are visionary. Visionaries are basically people who think far-sightedly. They try to understand, assimilate, and analyze the future. Okay, these are the 8 introverted types. Again, a complex slide. Don't forget the slide. And if you look at it, it'll drive you crazy. The extroverted personality types are classified into givers. Givers are actually people-oriented. They make friends easily. They generally socialize. Second category is called provider. Providers are actually called social butterflies. These are the flamboyant people who actually live a high-profile life. You know, the classic case in point is that of Vijay Mallya. Social butterflies are people who are show-offs. They live a social life. They socialize, they show off. The performers are actually close observers of human behavior. Many of the good actors, like Mohanlal, classic case is Mohanlal, the superstar from Mollywood. He is an observer. So only when you are an observer, you can perform or take on that particular role. Then you have another category called champion, who are actually extroverts, but they have great intuition. They understand other people so very well. Then another category in extroverts is doer. Doer is the just do it types. They lead a life, happy-go-lucky life. They do what they want to do and they face the consequence. And then there's a category called supervisor, who are supervisory in attitude, who try to control, guide, monitor others. Then there is a commander, who is a rational leader with great leadership qualities. Then there is another personality type called composer. These are artistic people who are spontaneous in their creativity. Back to me. So as we have heard 1,000 times, the opposite poles attract, the opposite poles also stick together. A thinker would go well with a doer. A thinker with another thinker is an equation where life becomes dull and boring. A thinker will do well with a doer. Similarly, a visionary would do well with a giver. In other words, people who are slightly different from one another would make a great team. Or in other words, opposite poles always attract. Opposite poles always stick together. So when you see a person next time, try to find out which of these categories he belongs to. Is he an introvert or an extrovert? Then you try to find out yourself, what category do you belong to? If you are an introvert and if you are a thinker, you do well with an extrovert who is a doer. So you can always try and make friends and associates scientifically, not just carefully. Thank you very much.